Hello, everyone. So today, what I'm going to do is model for you on video on how to complete these problems today. Before I pull up today's objective, please make sure that you are in a place where you can see the screen very well. If not, the adult in the room will pause the video and give you a moment to make sure you're in a place where you can see and follow along. So the goal is today, so you guys don't get behind while I'm gone. So make sure you're paying attention, being engaged, basically whatever goes on this board should go on your paper. All right. So I'm gonna give you about 30 seconds to make sure you're in a good spot. Okay, so I'm going to share the objective. I'm sure you guys have already read it but I want to make sure that we're clear on what we are learning today. So today's objective is I can use models to subtract mixed numbers. Okay, so like we did with the addition, we're now going to be subtracting. Here's our first focus problem. It says Clara and Aaron volunteered at an animal shelter for a total of 6 5/6 hours. Clara worked for 4 1/3 hours. How many hours did Aaron work? Okay, so I know this is subtraction because I have the total number of hours both girls worked, but I'm taking out the 4. I'm gonna take my mask off because nobody's in here. So I'm taking out the 4 1/3 hours. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and just write down my number sentence real quick on the board. So you can go ahead and write down 6 5/6 minus 4 1/3. All right, so I'm going to stop sharing my screen and then I'm going to switch to the other camera. Here we go. All right, so you guys can see my word problem. My number sentence is already on the board. So subtraction is a little different than addition. I'm going to do something real quick. All right, that's better. So you see that I have 6 5/6 minus 4 1/3. The first thing that I do is I draw 6 5/6. So I'm going to draw 6 holes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then I got to draw the 5 6. So I draw my 7th rectangle and cut it into 6, and I shade 5 out of 6. Okay. All right, and go ahead and you can go ahead and shade your other 6 holes as well. Okay. So the first thing I do, now remember with addition, we had to draw and add on to our first number. But remember, subtraction is different. We're taking away. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and take away my 4. Okay. I'm going to take away my 4 holes. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. That leaves me 2 5/6 left. Okay. But, you know, we got that issue. We have 1/3 that we need to take away. So this is kind of how I think about 1/3. If I need to take my 1/3 and turn it into 6. So I'm just going to go ahead and real quick below here, just draw 1/3. So go ahead and draw 1/3. Okay. Make sure that what I have on my screen matches what is on your paper. Okay. So make sure you're following along. Okay, so I have my 1/3 already drawn. Now I need to take my third and turn it into 6. So I know that 6 is a multiple of 3. And I count by 3s until I get to 6. 3, 6. So 2 times. So I need to break this up into 2 sections. So I draw a line in between my 1/3 and I turn it into 2, 6. So now I know I'm taking away 2, 6 from 5, 6. So I go on here and I cross out 1, 6, 2, 6. Now I look to see what I have left. 1 whole, 2 wholes. Gives me 2 wholes. Now I have 1, 2, 3, 6 that are uncrossed out. So I have 3 over 6. All right. So now what I have to do is determine if this is a reduced answer. And I'm just going to kind of use what I know to help me. I know that 3 is half of 6. Anytime you see a numerator, half of the denominator, it is equivalent to 1/2. So my final answer is 2 and 1/2. Take about 30 seconds. Make sure you have this complete visual inside your math notebook. Okay, now I'm going to switch and then go to share back to my slide deck. And we're going to look at kind of the example of how we solve it. So if you'll look, we have on the screen, you'll see 5, 6 drawn out. And then they did go ahead and draw out the 3, the 4, and 1/3. You see which one's which. So then I see I've crossed out those 4 wholes. Now we still have to take the 5, 6, and then we turn it into the 1/3. We turn it into 2, 6. So that means we cross out 2, 6 from the 5, 6. We get 3, 6. And then we divide them both by 3 because it's a multiple of 3, and we get 1/2. So the answer is 2 wholes plus 1/2 equals 2 1/2. All right, so I'm going to briefly play the visual learning bridge. So I'm going to go ahead and just maximize it. And
Evan James has a pipe that's 2 2/3 inches long. He's using 1 11/12 inches of that pipe to repair a bicycle frame. We need to find out if there will be 3/4 inch left. We need to subtract 2 2/3 inches minus 1 11/12 inches to find out how much will be left. Let's use P for the amount of pipe that will be left. The first thing that we should notice is that the denominators are different. We will need common denominators to complete this problem. We can think about the relationship between thirds and 12ths. Since there are 3/3 in one whole and 12/12 in one whole, we can put the 12ths into 3 equal groups, which are the thirds. So there are 4 12ths in 1/3. We can also show that because we need to multiply thirds by 4 to get 12ths. Then the numerator is also partitioned into 4 parts. So we multiply the numerator by 4. So 1/3 is equivalent to 4 12ths. Since this problem is referring to 2/3, then we need to think about how many 12ths are in 2/3. Just like with 1/3, we're going to multiply the numerator and denominator by 4, and that would be 8 12ths. We can also see that using the fraction tiles. So 2/3 can be replaced with 8 12ths. Let's use this equivalent fraction to rewrite our equation. 2 8 12ths minus 1 11/12 equals P. Let's start by building the 2 8 12ths. We need 2 wholes and 8 12ths. away the 1 and 11/12. Let's take away 1 first. Now we have 1 and 8/12, and we need to remove 11/12, but there are not 11/12 to remove. This means that we will need to trade 1 whole for 12/12. Let's do that now. Notice that we did not change the amount of 1 and 8/12. We just changed how the whole was partitioned. So now we have 20/12. We can remove the 11/12. And we have 9/12 left. So 2 and 8/12 minus 1 and 11/12 is 9/12. That's many pieces. So let's think if there is a way to simplify this with fewer pieces. Is there a number that divides into both 9 and 12 equally? 3 divides into both. We divide the denominator by 3 and the numerator by 3. And that would give us 3/4. We can also see that with our model. If we divide it into 3 equal groups, it's equivalent to 3/4. So 2 and 2/3 minus 1 and 11/12 is 3/4 exactly. So yes, James has exactly enough pipe left to fix another bike. Today, you're going to solve some practice problems with mixed numbers in which the numerator and denominator are different. Be sure you use an equivalent fraction to change one of the fractions so that the denominators are like or common before you subtract. Remember that you may need to decompose a whole to subtract. Use fraction tools and model your work with equations. I look forward to continuing our work with adding and subtracting fractions in the next lesson.
All right. Hopefully that video gave you an idea of just kind of give you a way to see how we're going to be doing today a little bit more. All right. So here is our first we do. Okay. So for this first one, I'm going to, what I'll do is just kind of say what you need to do. You'll do it, and then you'll check your work with what I put on the screen. All right. So the question says, of the shirts in Kate's closet, 1 2/3 are white and 2 1/6 are blue. How many more shirts are blue than white? Okay. So we know that she has more blue shirts, kind of like me. I have more blue shirts than I have white shirts. My wife criticizes me for this all the time. So what I need to do is figure out how many more of one I have than the other. Okay. So in this case, I'm going with the larger number first, subtracted by the smaller number. So go ahead in your notebook and write down 2 1/6 minus 1 2/3. So 2 1/6 minus 1 2/3. Okay. So there it is. So give me 1 second, gonna switch videos, stop. And so hopefully you can see I've got the word problem written down for you already. So you have 2 1/6 minus 1 2/3. Okay, so your first step that you need to do, hopefully you remember from before, step 1 is to draw 2 1/6. You have 30 seconds to draw 2 1/6 on your paper. Remember, 2 wholes plus 1/6. All right, so go ahead, and the first thing you should do is draw your 2 holes. Hopefully you already have that on your paper, your 2 holes. So remember, you shade them in just so that you know, okay, got it shaded. And then I'm gonna go ahead, I'm just gonna draw my 1/6 down here, okay? Remember, 1 2 3 4 5 6 sections, and then shade one of them, okay? So now we're taking away 1 2/3. Sometimes I like to do this to help me as I draw my stuff with subtraction, because sometimes I get mixed up. I'm going to cross out the 2 1/6 just to kind of say, you did this, don't worry about it anymore. So now I have the 1 2/3. I'm going to go ahead and cross out the 1 whole. Okay, the 1 whole is gone. So now I need to take away 2/3, but I only have 1/6. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just kind of below here, I'm going to draw. So go ahead and draw your 2/3. Draw your 2/3 and see if you can turn it into 6. Okay. Draw 2/3, turn it into 6. Okay, so I draw it. So of course you've gotten your 2/3 drawn. All right. And you just think to yourself, you go, okay, well, I'm gonna count by 3s until I get 6. 3, 6. I do it twice, 2 times. So I know I break this in half. And I see that I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. Okay, so that means I have to take away 4, 6 from here. All right. So the first thing you notice is this is in 6. But this is not. I need to take away 4. So go ahead and break up your other area model. That's the 1 whole. Break it up into 6 because I don't have enough. I only have 1 6. So now take away 4 6 from these 2 and see what you get. I'll give you 30 seconds. So you're taking away 1, 2, 3, 4 6 from the 7 6. Okay, so we've taken away, so we're going to take away the 4 6. So I have 1, so this is gone. 2, 3, 4, 6 taken away. So I have 1, 2, 3, 6 remaining. Now I remember from my last problem, go ahead and shout out loud, what is 3 6 equivalent to? Shout it out in 3, 2, 1. 1/2. Good job. So 3 6 equals 1/2, meaning your final answer to this question is 1/2. You have about 20 seconds to make sure that you have this example in your notebook. Okay, so you're not going to see my face because I'm not going to change cameras, but this is just so you can see how the area models work out. You'll see that I go from 1 1/6 to 1 2/3, or 2 1/6, 1 2/3. So once you subtract, you'll see what you get. All right, last we do that we're going to do together. So today, Jameer left school. He rode the bus for 1 1/4 of a mile. Then he walked 9/12 of a mile to get home. How much farther did Jameer ride than walk? Okay, so obviously what I'm doing is I look, it's 1 1/4 minus 9/12. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing so you can see the big view. Okay, so think about what step 1 is, that what we've done. Think about, what do you draw first? I'm going to give you 30 seconds to show what you draw first. Okay, so the first thing that you clearly draw first is 1 1/4. So I draw my 1 whole, shade it in, and then I also go ahead and draw my 1/4. Okay, so I got my 1/4. Now, I got to take away 9/12, but I don't, this isn't in 12ths, is it? 1/4 is not in 12ths. Actually, I'm going to redraw 1/4 because this will make it a little easier to convert it. I'm going to draw 1/4 like this with the vertical line. So 3, 4 vertical lines, give me 1, 2, 3, 4 sections, and doing it like that. Now I need to take my 4ths and turn it into 12ths. Okay, So what I do is I count by 4 and see how many times I count by 4 before I get to 12. So count by 4s in your head. And then show me real quick with your hand, show the screen real quick with your hands. How many times do you have to count by 4 to get to 12? I give you 10 seconds. Okay, so hopefully you're holding up a 3 right now. So you should be holding up a 3. So that means I count it by 3s, meaning I break this into 3 parts. So 1, 2, 3. I've taken my 1/4 and I've turned it into 1, 2, 3 twelfths. Okay. So now this is 3/12. Now I need to take, I'm going to X this out real quick because I've already used it. Now I need to take away 9/12. I only have 3/12 here. So that means this isn't going to be enough to take it all out. So I'm going to go ahead and break up my whole into 12ths. So really what I'm doing is I'm borrowing from the whole to finish off my problem. So now let's take out 9. Go ahead and take out 9/12 and then write down your fraction of what you get after you take out your 9/12. I'll give you about 20 seconds. Okay, so 12. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Remaining 6/12. If my numerator is half my denominator, shout out what that's equivalent to real quick. You should have yelled out 1/2. So I have 1/2 remaining after I do my multiplication, after I do my subtraction, but also you'll look at, I'm going to redraw this visual real quick. See if I can make it a little clearer. The 6/12. Okay. That's 16ths, I think. Yeah, that's 16. So I'm going to take off this bottom row real quick. Okay, so I got my 12ths. So I'm going to shade in the 6/12. And if I look at how this looks visually, it looks like it takes up half of the visual. If the visual looks like it's taking up a half, then that's what it is. All right. So I'm going to switch back to this camera. And then go back to sharing my screen. And we're going to see how the example plays out for us real quick. All right. And you, of course, you see the subtraction. All right. So we're going to skip this part and go straight to the independent practice. So today, your independent practice, this slide will be displayed in a moment. You will be required to complete the independent practice on topic. I think we're in 7-8 today, whichever topic you're on. You go to Google Classroom, you complete your independent practice. I should be back eventually. Take your time, show your work, draw out and use those models to help you be successful, okay? Remember, we will do this again tomorrow. So we'll have a couple of days with it and we have a little bit, some review time next week too. So we'll keep reviewing until we get it done. And of course, whoever's in the room, you can ask them for help. And all right, good luck. And I will see you when I return.